Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by LA Blackwell, Danny, and Flau. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
This is how we do it. That's right. This is episode 14 of our podcast, known as Knicksfandom. We're back and better than ever. I'm your host, LA Blackwell. I hope everyone out there is doing fantastic. It's great to be joined by my co-host, Danny D. How you doing, Danny D?
What's going on, LA? What's going on, LA? Just another day is the slogan that we say.
That's right. That's right. As always, I'm also joined by my other fellow co-host, Flau. How you doing? How's things, Flau?
LA, I'm great, man. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. We back on the air, man. Back here. Okay, let's get right into it. First up is our segment known as Weekly Knicks Roundup. But before we even get right into that, we got to begin with the big Knick news of the week, which revolved around former Knicks stalwart Charles Oakley being involved in a physical altercation. The altercation ended with him being physically thrown out of Madison Square Garden by security and now being subsequently banned from the Garden. The Knicks reportedly stated that Oakley was verbally abusive towards owner James Dolan and other Knicks staff and or security. Oakley has insisted that he was there for only approximately 4 minutes before security staff reportedly continued to stare at him, which he subsequently asked what was he doing here and eventually asked him to leave the building, even though he had rightfully paid for his tickets, which ultimately led to the black eye incident at the Garden. Flo, what's your immediate thoughts regarding this matter?
Honestly, LA, it's a big disappointment. Not only for Mr. Oakley, but also for the Knicks and also for the NBA. Keep in mind that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver was at the game. So it's a lose-lose for all parties. Doesn't look good at all. And I hope that we can come to the bottom of a conclusion where maybe there could be a mediator between Mr. Dolan and Mr. Oakley. And the person I'm thinking about is probably Michael Jordan as that guy, pretty much, because at the end of the day, Jordan is a billionaire just like Dolan, and he's friends with Oakley and Dolan. If he's able to get these guys in a room together, sit down and have a nice conversation, we can all, they can squash this incident and move forward. Hopefully, Oakley will be allowed to come back to the Garden.
I hear you, Flo. Thank you for your take on the matter. We'll definitely go in more detail with it. How about you, Danny? What's your take on this Oakley incident?
It's horrific, man. Not only is something bad as a fan aspect, Charles Oakley was the heart and tears for the Knicks, and him to get kicked out like that in that fashion on national TV, it's embarrassing. It's very hurtful. So it's two stories. Dolan has one story. Charles Oakley has one story. They're both in the wrong. For me, they're both in the wrong. Dolan's wrong for approaching things like that and getting him kicked out the building like that, like he wasn't a former worker there. And, Oakley, he's a big guy and things like that. He probably said a few words that he shouldn't have said to lead to that nature. It just sucks on both ends. Really, it sucks on both ends.
Thank you, Danny D. I gotta concur with both of you guys. We're gonna talk about it in a little more detail. It's just an ugly incident, on both parts. Like you stated, it's something that you really didn't want to see. I mean, we haven't seen Oakley in the Garden in I don't know how long. And then to see him getting dragged out like that, especially in this times with everything that's going on in the world, all the strife, violence, and everything like that, it just brings up a lot of bad ideas, a lot of bad thoughts when you look at something like that. And I was just happy it didn't escalate further looking at it, considering where it could have went. It could have even been a more horrible incident. Look at it. A lot of kids there watching it, like you stated earlier, Flo, the commissioners watching it. It was a nationwide game, a national game. So just to see that type of incident happen, and this has happened before with things and the Knicks and former players, not to disagree, but this animosity between Dolan, you've seen the same thing with kind of Ewing, now with Oakley. It's a lot of the older players not being brought into the fold, and this is just added to and escalated. Y'all want to go into a little more detail about it? I mean, you can just jump right in there.
Yeah, I'm saying, and I think in the Knicks organization too, it was half and half, because today at the Spurs game, they bring in Latrell Sprewell. Whoop-de-damn-do, you brought in Latrell Sprewell. This guy chokes people. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
So where's the checks? You brought it, and he's sitting next to Doe. That doesn't sell anything. That doesn't prove anything to me. Honestly,
it doesn't. I mean, you think about Oakley. He literally was the blood, sweat, and tears of that team. He really had the hard hat mentality. So just to see a player like that and then just dragged out, then it's another clip that extended it and show him on the floor trying to get up. It's just, like you said, on both sides, a lot of cooler heads should have prevailed before it even got to that point. But you can't have that type of thing happen, especially when a team like this having so many bad incidents throughout the season. Has been a very, not what you thought of it going into the season, very up and down. Also with the Derrick Rose incident. And it's like just more stuff for Knicks fans.
It is. It's basically becoming into a circus. It's bad enough that we're losing. We can't even lose quietly now. You understand what I'm saying? Us
Exactly.
losing is taking second to Charles Oakley getting kicked out. What other teams that y'all know is getting on national highlights for not basketball but us?
It's just sad, man.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not what you want to see at all.
We're on highlight reels, not for basketball. Derrick Rose going missing, MIA, and Charles Oakley getting kicked out the Garden.
Exactly. And we spoke about this in previous podcasts. I said this was going to happen. I didn't know this type of incident, but when you have a losing team and these things start to happen, it just starts to roll one into another. And these things start to happen. You find ways to lose in weird ways. You find incidents off the floor. And it's just horrible right now. The Knicks got to get it together. Like you said, hopefully cooler has prevailed, Flau, and maybe MJ might be the guy to bring these two guys together. And that's the best thing you can hope for this incident. Like, this is the last you'll see something like this. Like I said, thankfully it didn't go further. Like they said, because the media, I thought of other things that happened in the past news segments. I definitely didn't want to see that happen to a player that's a former player of your team. This is not just a regular stranger. This guy did 10 years for your team plus. Got your team to championships. Within they play those games, but then, come away with the ring. But this is not the way you want to see your former players come back. This is, just a horrible incident. But I think we pretty much touched on that segment, but we had to talk about it if we went into the actual games. That's been going around throughout all of the NBA, and we'll definitely keep an eye on that as the season go along, as the games go along. Because Oakley also says he's going to have a press conference in the next couple of weeks or so. So we'll see what happens. But, it's definitely not going to die down right now. But going into our weekly Knicks roundup, and basically the Knicks, since our previous podcast, went 2-5 in the last 7 games. The other game they had Tuesday was a away game against the Wizards, which they lost 117-101. On Wednesday, they had an away game against the Nets, which they won 95-90. On Saturday, 2-4-17, they had a home game against the Cavs, which they lost 111-104. And on Monday, they had a game against the Lakers, which they lost 121-107. On Wednesday of that week, they had a Clippers game, which they lost 119-115. On Friday, they had a game against the Nuggets, which they lost again 131-123. And today, they had a home game against the Spurs, which they was able to eke out a close win, 94-90. Therefore, they went 2-5 in the last previous 7 games. Their total record now stands at 23-33 with a 14-15 home record and a 9-18 road record. If the playoffs started, they'd be 12th place right now. What is your main thoughts regarding the Knicks overall, Danny D?
We played like doo-doo. We didn't play any defense at all. And the Nets, the teams that, like we said, guys, like we said before, the teams that we should beat, we gotta beat. There's no reason why Denver should come in our house and score, what was it, 131?
That game was 131-123. Yeah, that was crazy.
There's no reason why. And no defense whatsoever. And Denver wasn't even playing their best players. You had Jameer Nelson was the starting point guard.
That's true. Because Gallinari didn't even play either. He was still injured,
You know what I'm saying? He was the starting point guard. And I was like, this is ridiculous. We didn't play no defense at all. We were up with the Clippers game. Thank goodness we won today, because I already scratched that for an L. I thought tonight was going to be an L. I already put that in the L.
I did too before we even did the notes and everything. I already had it down. So scratch this off, man. They're Jekyll and Hyde right now.
It's Jekyll and Hyde, but let's look at the game too. Tony Parker didn't score no points. He didn't have no points tonight.
That's true.
Just remember that. Tony Parker didn't score any points tonight.
And he only won by Nuggets 4. Game, like you said, that Jokic, he had his career high in that game, 42. The Knicks love to give career highs, man. I believe 40 points that game. But, What can we do? We'll go into more detail. Thank you, Danny D. How about you, Flo? What's your assessment for these Knicks in the last 7 games or so before we get into the game specifics?
They stink overall. They've been stinking all season. And at the end of the day, there's one person to blame for all this, even the Charles Oakley debacle. One person to blame, Phil Jackson. He's got to go. He is the blame for all of this madness. I blame him for the Oakley situation. I blame him for just trying to mess with Melo,
But how do you blame him for the Oakley incident? I want to explain that to me.
This is a diversion. Let's be honest, guys. This is a diversion. At the end of the day, this team stinks, and because of Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson wanted Charles Oakley to get arrested. He wanted this. He wanted all eyes off of him. This is a plan by Phil Jackson. The puppet master is in charge once again. Phil Jackson takes his eyes off him. Everything's on Oakley. Everybody's talking about Oakley. Why? He doesn't want nobody to talk about the product that he's put on the floor. A lousy product, which is the Knicks. Period. Phil Jackson is to blame for all of this. He's got to go.
I hear you. I can't go that far. I mean, he's a Zen master, but man, that's a lot of power he got with that one. I hear you, man. The Knicks, like I said, Jekyll and Hyde right now, up and down. I'm looking at the draft, be honest with you guys. I'm trying to see it's a lot of talent going forward. I don't even see they right now in 12th place. Even if they made it to the 7th or 8th spot, what does it mean? They're gonna get probably knocked out in the first round. Right now, they win today against the Spurs, the second best team in the league. So what can I tell you? They play the Thunder next, I believe. So maybe they'll get a couple of games going. They have LeBron coming up soon again. And this is what we stated early in the podcast. Like around this time, we should know what the Knicks are. It'll be, buying or selling. I still don't know. I still feel like you're going to end up selling. I'm not seeing nothing. Melo's playing pretty well. They're showing fight again, but their defense is atrocious, like you said. They do too many turnovers. I just don't see the consistency at all. Unless they're going to really start getting something going like Miami Heat did previously with 13-game win streak. Until they start doing something like that, you can't really take them serious, guys. That's just the way I look at it. Anything Pacific game-wise y'all like to speak about? Starting with you, Flo, or players-wise?
Melo continue to play well as usual, even though Phil Jackson is throwing his name in the mud. And I respect Melo for, continuing to just focus on basketball. He's not letting all the distractions get to him. Focus on basketball. That's all I ask of him, and that's what he's doing. A classy individual, Carmelo Anthony is. So just continue to play basketball. That's all I want Melo. That's all I need Melo to do right now. Just play basketball. Hopefully, this team can rally around him. It's really frustrating to hear that players on this team supporting Melo, but then they don't show out and play hard for Melo and get some wins. I think that's insulting to Melo, as far as I'm concerned. That's why it's very every individual teammate not named Melo. They got to be called out because they haven't played consistent defense. We already know Melo is not known to be a great defender. We know that. We understand that. But he is your franchise player. He is your number one star on this team. He is dropping at least 20 points or more a night every night. He's not making any excuses. He has played almost every game with the exception of one game that he's missed, which is the Golden State Warriors game, which is the nationally televised Thursday night TNT game, which I believe was the game that I believe that the Warriors were doing a tribute to the late Craig Sager. And you guys can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, Melo's doing what he's doing. What about the rest of his teammates? They want him so bad. They want him to stay. But step up, contribute, play defense for 48 minutes a night. Do that. Translate those efforts into wins, not losses. I'm tired of all these guys making all these excuses. I'm tired. Play defense. Period.
I hear you, Flo. Definitely preaching to the choir, man. Knicks fans are tired with you. It's been a long time. How about you, Danny D? Anything specifically stand-wise, player-wise in the last 7 games?
Hey, man, player-wise, like my man Flo said before, Noah ain't playing, and you started William Gomez, and he's dropping buckets to get some W's because Noah's not playing. Get him off, put Noah on the bench, and let some of these bench players come in so we can start trying to get some W's and rile up some W's and some wins. Let the bench play. Because as you can see, Noah didn't play today, and we came out with a W. I'm listening to Flo.
Well,
thank you, D.
I hear y'all. I hear you guys. It's just you're trying to see where this team gonna go. I mean, like you said, the day they started, Hernan Gomez, he did pretty well, but you got to get some consistency, man. I'm looking at the Lakers game, just looking back at it. it was a game they really wasn't even in that game. And the Lakers are not a good team. They should have been a way better game than that. Just looking at that. I mean, Porzingis was not that great in that game. You also had, like, Melo. He did good, but it's like you don't know where to go. You had Jennings play well. He leads the team assists, but he also gets a ton of turnovers sometimes. So it's like, where do you go with this team? Lee is playing better. I mean, do you just let it play out? You just hoping guys get better? I mean, or do you just, like, really feel like you got to make that deal and just, like, back up the truck, basically, and say, worry about the draft this early? I don't know. It's a tough spot to put this team in right now. And, you know, I just don't know where you want to go with it consistency-wise. Quinn was playing better today. It's just some games they bring it, some games they play well in the paint, then some other games they just get destroyed in the paint. Like that Clippers game, they got punished by, you know, Blake Griffin and the other guy. What's his name? The center.
DeAndre Jordan.
You got his
DeAndre
name?
Jordan.
That's your boy.
I know, but it's like that game they didn't even show up in the paint. It was like basically two guys crush you. You can't have that and then try to really be contending. And then today they played well. I don't know. I know they said a lot of stuff happened behind the scenes with Melo and Hornacek. They said the guys had I think players only meeting type of thing, and a lot of things was put up front. So we'll see how far that'll go. Not really sure about it. I guess maybe they'll get their head a little more straight after the All-Star break, and we'll have more of assessment there. I mean, unless y'all want to step anything else in there, I guess that's pretty much. Go ahead, Flo.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
go
LA, here's the deal. The Knicks have 26 games left. They have to go 19-7 just to finish with a winning record. If they believe that they can do that, then definitely they got to ride this thing out. If they don't believe they can go 19-7, then you know what? It's time for you to start Hernan Gomez. It's time for you to trade Courtney Lee. It's time for you to start Ron Baker at the 2 position. And it's time for you to strap Noah onto the bench for good.
Can't disagree. I think that's what's going to end up being anyway. But, you know, because Lee is basically, he's playing pretty well. I mean, he did a great job today on Green, too. I mean, he missed a lot of shots. I think he went like 2 or 13 and things. And then Aldridge, he didn't play well either. It's just mostly Kawhi. That was basically it. David Lee played okay. So, you know, why can't the Knicks just bring that effort type every game? That's the thing. You play that type of game, you'll win a lot more than you're going to lose. But you haven't seen it all season, why should it start now? But, you know, thanks again, fellas. Appreciate that. That was our weekly Knicks roundup. And we're going to step right back into our next segment known as Tip Off. But before we get right into Tip Off, I want to take a few minutes to go over a quick little break for our listeners. Stay tuned. First, a big thank you to our listeners out there. We definitely appreciate every one of you for tuning into our podcast. Please make sure to subscribe in iTunes and to our brand new YouTube channel. We are really trying to move up in those rankings, and subscriptions plays a big part in their ranking systems. Also, leave a comment on iTunes and feel free to share our podcast with your friends. It would be greatly appreciated. Lastly, our show can also be found on Stitcher, Google Play, Pocket Cast, and some of the most recent shows can now be found on SoundCloud as well. If you want to reach us directly, be sure to contact us on our Facebook fan page and our new email address, known as Knicksfandom@gmail.com. And also our brand new Twitter account, Knicks_fandom. Thanks again. Now back to our regularly scheduled podcast. And we're back. Like as I stated previously, we're here with our segment known as Tip Off. As usual, it's our short segment where we pick one personal topic that we've been thinking about and we like to discuss in a group format. Topic may pertain to any type of NBA or sports related topic that we may find interesting, and in turn, hopefully you, the listener, will also find interesting. Start off for us this week, Flo. Do you have anything to discuss in regards to our tip-off segment?
LA, definitely I do. There's 2 potential trade rumors I want to discuss. I would love to have both of you guys take on it.
Okay. So let's hear it, bro.
First one is, I think I've mentioned this player's name before. How about starting point guard Derrick Rose being traded to Minnesota for point guard Ricky Rubio and power forward Jordan Hill? The money works according to the NBA trade machine. It's a -2 for the Minnesota T-Wolves and it's a -1 for the New York Knicks. What do you guys think about my first trade proposal?
How many years on Jordan Hill and Ricky Rubio have, if you know?
Jordan Hill has 2 years left at $4 million each, and Ricky Rubio has 3 years left, making 13,550,000.
I don't like it. Too many years for me. If I had more faith in the Knicks, if they were really going to win, I really thought they could turn around this year. I would do that maybe. Just because I look back, you talk about Rubio, his numbers is a little better than I thought. As we had a previous podcast, we spoke about it. And, Jordan Hill, I kind of like him. He's a pretty good player. But I really don't want to add no more salary to this team right now until they actually show they really are going to try to make a move. As I stated before, Rose's 1-year deal. That's the main reason why I liked it, because I figured if he didn't work out, you got this money to go after a main star to go with Porzingis. So right now, I wouldn't do it unless the Knicks really start getting on a roll. And then probably they get on a roll, they really want to trade him anyway. So I wouldn't do it, not for those guys. I'm not that big a fan of Rubio to make me want to do that. But how about you, D? What you think?
If we had Rose for like 2 years, maybe I would have did it. Just to get rid of his money, the contract that he had, because it's 25. But since he's on a 1-year deal, no, because I don't know what's the chance of we signing Rose back. And I really think overall, I'm putting an edge to Derek, because Derek seems like he's a better player than Rubio. Rubio hasn't proven anything to me yet.
Okay, you're in the same area right now. How about you, Flo? What you think about the deal you brought up?
It all depends. If I love Ricky Rubio, but, and it's only a but, if Phil Jackson doesn't have any confidence that he can recruit Jrue Holiday, then you have to make this trade now.
I understand. But also, the thing I was looking at, it's a lot of guards in this upcoming draft. If the Knicks do start to still stink it up like we think they are right now. And you may not have to get a point guard with that. I mean, it's going to take a couple years for that guy to come around. But if they're in the lottery, you definitely got a chance at one of the top guards in the draft, depending on how it falls. So I understand, if you think they're trying to win next year with Melo and Porzingis, then you'd rather get Holiday. But, it's hard to tell right now. I don't have a crystal ball, unfortunately. But, thank you very much for that, Flo. How about you for the second trade proposal you thought about?
The second trade proposal is actually starting shooting guard Courtney Lee going to the Denver Nuggets for starting small forward Wilson Chandler. The money works according to the NBA trade machine. It's a +3 for the Knicks in acquiring Wilson Chandler, and it's a -2 for the Denver Nuggets. What do you guys think about this trade proposal?
How many more years does Chandler have, if it says?
Chandler has 3 years left, and he's making $11,233,146.
Okay, thank you much, Flo. I know D likes Chandler pretty good. I'll let her start with this one. How about you, D? What you think about it?
Listen, you already know I'm a big Wilson Chandler. He never should have left. He never should have left. We'd have had the core. I love Carmelo to death. If Carmelo would have just waited, we would have had him. We'd have had Moskov, and we'd have had Danny Gallinari. It would have been basically the Denver Nuggets on the East Coast with the Knicks.
Very
I like
true.
it. Wilson Chandler is he's bigger than Courtney Lee, and he's consistent. The only problem he has some off the court issues, but other than that, he can ball. I like it.
I like it too. I think it's Chandler. He has some injury issues too. That's the one thing I worry about a little bit. But overall, I think he's a better player. I think it'd be a better fit, honestly, with the Knicks right now. I think this is the best you're going to get out of Lee, is what he's doing right now. So just a chance that Chandler maybe have that a little more step in him, a little more, plateau that he hasn't quite reached. I think I would take the chance if I can make that happen, since the money's not that much different all the years. How about you, Flo?
I agree with Danny and yourself, LA. Pretty much, I'm a big Wilson Chandler fan. Got to give credit where credit is done with Isaiah Thomas. He's the one who drafted Wilson Chandler when he was in charge of the Knicks.
Very true. Isaiah's pretty good picking up talent, though. He's just not good as a GM or coach.
Yeah, no, that's Isaiah's greatest strength. He's a scout. That's what he is at best.
Exactly. But go ahead, Flo.
Love Wilson Chandler. I think right now you got an opportunity to move quarterly. You got to do it now. It's an upgrade, in my opinion. You're getting a big, small forward who's 6'8". Keep in mind, you can slide him into the 2 if you want to. You let him come off the bench. He'll be a great backup for Melo. He still can get some minutes. Also, you want to go small ball. You slide Melo back into the 4. You put Chandler at the 3. Or you want to give Melo some more rest. You slide Chandler at the 4. Not a big deal. Here's a guy that can play 4 positions on the floor. Guy has a good handle. He can play a point. He can play a point a little bit. Got a good handle, but he's a useful player for the Knicks if they were able to acquire him for Courtney Lee.
Okay. Thank you very much, Flo. Appreciate it. How about you, Danny D? What you got for our tip or segment if you do have one?
Tip one segment is your girl, co-owner and president, Jeannie Buss from the Los Angeles Lakers, hiring Magic Johnson in an advisory role for the LA Lakers. And Magic wants to call the shots probably next year and probably get a GM role as the Lakers. How y'all feel about that?
Yeah, I did see that on I think one of the NBA shows I was watching, Magic was talking about it, and he said that they're about one main franchise player away. Hey, man, Magic got the Midas touch right now with a lot of things. The teammate just Chicago just won. He has a touch with them. All his businesses, Magic been pretty good with on the business side and sports side. Hard to go against him right now. So, I like that better than what they already have with who's running it right now with her brother and everything in that regard. So, see what can happen. And he definitely has the cachet, I think that's helped with some of the free agency. A lot of players grew up watching him. I think those things help sometimes for the up-and-coming players. So you have to wait and see. I take the chance with it. He definitely is a Laker for life. He definitely has a big love for the Lakers. He'll be out there pushing it, out there watching the games and, making those scouting runs. I could definitely see Magic doing those type of things or having people in place to let that happen. So I say take a chance. Why not? How about you, Flo?
This is comical. It really is comical. This is a copycat league. All Jeannie Buss she's done is pretty much what James Dolan has done with the Knicks. You brought in Phil Jackson. So you know what his ex-fiance decides, you know what, let me bring Magic Johnson to the fold. I don't see any difference. I really don't. Both of these guys have rings. Phil Jackson has 11 rings. Magic Johnson has 5 rings. And you guys can correct me on this. 5 rings?
I think so.
I don't see the difference. I really don't. First, there's already a conflict of interest. He's part of the NBA countdown on ABC. That's a conflict of interest right there. What ESPN needs to do and ABC needs to do, they need to fire Magic from that position. They need to hire Phil Jackson in that position so Phil Jackson can get off my team because he's killing my team. I think Magic Johnson is a great businessman, but I think he's going to fail working for the Lakers at the end of the day, period. Phil's fail, Magic will fail.
Okay. How about you, D? What you think to break the tie?
I don't know. We'll have to see. It's half and half right now, but I think he'd be okay if they keep him as an advisory role. Because right now, in the advisory role, he's just putting his hand in pots and everything like that, just telling Jeannie Buss like, hey, that's a bad idea, that's a good idea, and getting paid to do it. So if it messes up, he's like, hey, I'm just an advisor. I didn't tell you to do it,
Exactly.
So
he's not doing the salary cap. He's not doing that. They're going to have a person, a professional doing that. So that's why I think it could be a good thing with them.
So I like it for Magic. And also he's unlike, James Dolan hiring Phil, I didn't see him having no New York ties to begin with. I don't understand. Like you said, Magic is a Laker. So he's gonna look out for the Lakers. What's in the best interest for the Lakers? And he was a player there. He's LA, Showtime. So everybody wants to come to LA. Showtime, man. He's Magic.
I think he's just more personable than Phil with those things too. I'm looking at the players. These players seem to really gravitate towards that right now. And I think looking at that, other than, even with Pat Riley, I mean, if you listen to him talk and things of that nature, he makes you want to go out there and play. The younger Pat Riley anyway. But so I think that really has an effect on some of these younger players if the money is the same. And like you said, LA is always going to get players. People like to go there. So with Magic talking in your ear, I don't know. I figure, a lot of these players, if you got Magic, you got Phil sitting at the table. I think you might go with Magic team versus Phil right now. So that's why they said take a chance. He's not doing the cap. He's not doing all the contracts. It's more of an advisory role. If it doesn't work out, you can always let Magic move back upstairs or something. Take a chance with it. Okay, thank you, fellas. And for my tip-off topic, as I stated, the trade room I wanted to report was report by Adrian Wojnarowski, who reported that New Orleans has been engaged on several fronts to land a center, including pursuit of Brooklyn's Brook Lopez. That's your guy, Flau. Sources tell at The Vertical. Basketball insider Steve Carlisle wrote that they are asking for too much in return, speaking about the Nets. According to Carlisle, Brooklyn is looking for a lottery pick this year, as well as a first-round pick for next year in exchange for the veteran center. So I just want to know your thoughts about the Pelicans basically trying to get Brook Lopez to go along with the Brow. And if you think the Nets are asking too much, and if you'll be willing to make this type of deal regarding the Pelicans. Starting with you, Flo, since I know Brook Lopez is your guy. They didn't really go in detail about the money or the exact players, but this is what they're trying to work out right now.
Excuse me. In all honesty, if I'm the Nets, yeah, you should definitely demand 2 first-round draft picks. You get 1, fine. If you can't get 2, if you can get 1, perfect. But if you can get a player such as a Drew Holiday, you definitely got to pull the trigger on the deal. Because if I'm New Orleans,
more of a sheet type dude. I think it's something more like that. They're trying to get rid of contract type of thing.
For the Nets, you turn that deal down. You're not taking a sheet back for Brook Lopez. You demand 2 number 1 first-round draft picks. If you can't get a first-rounder, get a first-rounder this year, next round next year. If you can't do that, then you demand Drew Holiday. The Nets are the ones that should be running the show, not the New Orleans Hornets. They're the ones that's fighting for a playoff seat. So they're, at the end of the day, the Nets are in control of this.
Okay. Thank you, Flo. How about you, Danny D?
Like I'm saying, like Flo was saying, if I'm the Nets, you're giving up an all-star. You're giving up an all-star. Brook Lopez is basically the all-star on that team. So, of course, I wanted 2 first-round picks. It's not giving up a lot if I'm the Nets. And then also, if I'm the Pelicans, it's what you trying to do. You trying to win now because Brook he's not getting no younger. Or you trying to, because you need some help with the Brow. Because the Brow is injury-prone. And, and also Brook Lopez is injury-prone, too. So I don't know. To see what they want to try to do to get this guy. But if I'm the Nets, I'm trying to rob the bank. I'm trying to get everybody for Brook.
That's because they got robbed by Boston.
Hey, man. Hey,
now they trying to rob everybody. Like you said, they ain't getting no younger. But hey, what can we say? Nets are bad right now. I don't think it's going. I wouldn't give him 2 picks for that. Not for Lopez. If this is what I got to do, then I'm going to Philadelphia. I'm not giving all that for them. I'll go to Philly and I'll make the deal for Okafor. I'll take my chance with that. I think I don't have to give up 2 picks to get him. For the Nets, you're in a rock and a hard place. You got to try to get the best you can get out here where your guys coming from. But also, I don't think Brook Lopez is that great. Not enough for me to give up 2 first rounders. Maybe a first rounder and then maybe a young up and coming player. But I'm not giving 2 for him because you're still going to be far away from really contending for a playoff spot anyway. I don't think Brook is that big a difference for that team. But, we'll see what happens. Just a trade I saw out there. I wanted to put it out there. Okay, fellas. Thank you. That was our hot topics. And we're going to jump right into our next segment, NBA Honorable Mentions of the Week. Yay! And basically, I want to start with you, Flo. You got NBA Honorable Mention of the Week?
LA, yes, I do. My NBA Honorable Mention of the Week is Houston's Rockets guard, James Harden, a.k.a. The Beard. In the last 3 games, he's averaging 32 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, leading the Houston Rockets to a 3-0 record for the week. My NBA Honorable Mention of the Week, James Harden, The Beard, man. Congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you very much, Flo. Yeah, Harden doing this thing, man, making a push for MVP. How about you, Danny D? What you got for NBA Honorable Mention of the Week?
My NBA honorable mention for the week is going to be Draymond Green against the Memphis Grizzlies with an unconventional triple-double by having 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and 10 steals.
5 kicks in the groin.
5 blocks.
And 5 kicks in the groin. They didn't count that. I saw it.
Hey. That'd be a quadruple double. Oh, yeah? That'd be my quadruple double, man.
Nah, I saw that. That was something, though. You know, definitely very unconventional. You know, very good numbers for Mr. Green. Thank you, Danny D. For mine, it's the same guy on the same team. Different guy on the same team, I should say, Stephen Curry. He had a couple of games of 39 points, 8 assists, 5 boards. Another game of 29 points, 11 assists, and 3 rebounds. And then another game he had 39.9 assists and 4 rebounds. Golden State definitely getting to that point. Everybody getting to know their role. I mean, they're really starting to play real well. If they can just stay consistent, play their defense, I think it'll beat them in LeBron like everyone stated from the beginning of the season. Unless, you know, someone gets injured. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But Stephen Curry, he's my NBA mention of the week. And lastly, I'd like to talk about our final segment for today in regards to our hot topic. And our hot topic today, fellas, in your opinion, what current NBA player is wasting his time on his current team? So we'll start with you, Flo. Who's your player that you would fit into this category?
Well, LA, the current NBA player that is wasting his time on his current team is the Orlando Magic starting power forward, Serge Ibaka. As you guys remember, during the NBA draft, Serge Ibaka was traded from OKC into Orlando for the draft rights of Sabonis, Victor Oladipo. And honestly, he's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. Orlando has a lot of forwards on their roster. If I'm Orlando, you got to move this guy and get whatever you can get for him at the end of the day.
I hear you. I know you've been a big fan of Ibaka, and been a lot of deals we talked about in previous podcasts. Hopefully, he only got 1 year deal, I believe, there too. But, you know, they gave a lot up to get him, so I think they're trying to really build around him for next year or so. But we'll see what happens as the season goes by. How about you, Danny D? What you think about that in regard to Ibaka?
Yeah. I mean, Ibaka, you know, he got to go somewhere else. He got to shine. But he has to go to a real contender, because it's hard from going to OKC where you're contending out to Orlando where you're like, you know. So you really got to try to go to a contender.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. What you think about that, Flo? I mean, do you agree with the statement you made? I mean, yeah, because you brought it up. But, yeah, I agree with both of y'all with that, you know. I saw a couple of trade rumors they talked about, but nothing really significant right now. So we'll see what happens, though. How about you, Danny D? Who's your player regarding our hot topic?
I think that a player that should go and leave and demand a trade, is wasting time, is Kenneth Faried on the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a 6'8", a great rebounder, great hands. He just it's like he's wasting on the Olympics. You saw him when he's on the national stage playing for the Olympics and things like that. He was getting busy. He's getting his shine. He has to go somewhere where he's worth. Denver's not the place for this guy.
Yeah, he's just getting older there too.
Yeah, that's you understand. He's 27.
How about you, Flo? What you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with Danny D on that. Kenneth Faried, the mammal, he needs to go to a contending team. Power forward, even though he's undersized, grabs a lot of rebounds. He's going to shoot for a high percentage because definitely he does the dirty work. It's time for him to start playing for a contender. He's wasting his talent in Denver. It's time for him to move on.
Prime years that he's wasting. Prime years.
It's not getting any better.
Nope.
Okay.
I remember he played when he was going for the USA, and they was playing horrible. He didn't ask for the ball. He just made his own shots, rebounds and putbacks, and that's what he was doing. He was blocking everybody's shot out there when he was out there for the U.S. team.
Yeah, that's his ability. You don't got to call no plays for him, and he still gets pretty much a double-double a lot of times. Just one of those players. Thank you, Danny D. Appreciate that. I was split between two players, and I'll see what y'all think about it. I had Dwayne Wade from the Chicago Bulls. I just felt it was a bad fit from the very beginning. kind of wasted there sitting in me. They're not getting along with each other, Rondo and Butler, and a lot of, back and forth. He's an older veteran player. This team is not ready to contend for a championship. I feel like they wasted his last 5 years of me. Yeah, even though it's a homecoming, I don't think he need to be there right now. And my other player was John Wall. I just feel like he's been there so long, and they've been trying to build a team around him, but this team just continue to lose. They had a couple. Just looking back at some of the former numbers they have with them regarding their overall wins and everything of that nature. They missed the playoffs out of 4 of their last 6 seasons, and also 3 of those would include like 29 wins or less. So, wasting a lot of his talent, and he had a season average of 23 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. So I'm like, this guy would be putting up huge numbers on another team if you put him with the right player. I know they've been trying to get Boogie to come over there or him to go with Boogie, things like that they talked about. But I just feel like he's wasting this guy's talent. So I feel like if you could move him to somewhere else, that's definitely a player that could really show what he can do. Kind of like Kyrie's doing with LeBron, that type of thing. What y'all guys think? Starting with you, Flo.
John Wall needs to come to the Knicks.
I signed up for that. And how about Dwayne Wade?
I was thinking about D-Wade probably playing for like Indiana. It doesn't seem like Indiana is happy with Monte Ellis. I think that might be a better fit for him playing alongside Paul George and Miles Turner.
I can see that, definitely. How about you, Dandy? What you think about those 2 picks? You disagree? You agree?
Yeah. For John Wall, they're still trying to build around him, things like that. So they're trying to make him the franchise player. So I can see them, but I'll have to see what fit and where would John Wall go. He can go anywhere, but they'll probably trade him. They're not gonna let John Wall just walk.
Exactly.
They're not gonna let him walk. They're not gonna let him walk because he's a franchise player. They're gonna have to give up. They're gonna have to give up a lot from John Wall. And for Dwayne, I think he just drastically made a crazy decision going to Chicago. I know that's your hometown and things like that, but on paper, he probably wasn't just looking at it. Just him and Butler and a bunch of nobodies. With Taj Gibson and those guys, because they're playing horrible. And yet, they're still in the midst to make the playoffs, though. That's crazy.
That's true. Very true. All right, fellas, that's our hot topic for the day. As we come to the end of our show, our closing remarks. How about you, Flo? Any closing remarks you have for today?
As always, I want to thank our listeners. I want to thank both of you gentlemen for giving me the opportunity to be part of this great show. Knicksfandom. Thank you very much to all the listeners and both of you guys. Appreciate it. Please, listeners, please continue to subscribe and tell a friend about this show. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Flo. Much appreciated as always, brother. How about you, Danny D? Any closing remarks for today?
Just thanking the fans and subscribers and my co-hosts, LA and Flo, man. We're doing that thing. We just got to keep it up, guys.
That's right. We here for y'all. Definitely appreciate it, brother. As always, until next time, big thank you to my great co-host as always, couldn't do it without him. Once again, a big thank you to our great listeners out there for tuning into the show. We definitely hope you enjoyed it. Continue to spread the word and enjoy your week. Take care and be well. See ya.